Gentlemen, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like you're missing an essential piece of the puzzle regarding attraction? You've worked hard to build a life of experience, yet something still seems off. Most men, especially those who have lived long enough to know better, overlook one fundamental aspect of attraction. And no, it's not about how much money you have, how you look, or even how confident you appear. It's something far more profound, something most men ignore, but that women instinctively respond to. In today's video, we're diving into the 7 hidden secrets of attraction, subtle psychological triggers that set certain men apart. These are not just random tips, but are backed by scientific research and ancient Stoic wisdom. They're the quiet signals that create intrigue, respect, and lasting desire. By the end of this video, you'll understand why attraction is not about chasing, it's about presence, awareness, and mastery of self. The final secret is the most powerful, and trust me, you won't want to miss it. So stay with me, hit that like button if you're ready to learn something new, and let's get started. 1. The silent language of touch. Many men believe that words alone can build attraction, and assuming the right compliment or engaging conversation is enough to create a connection. While verbal communication is essential, it is not the only language a woman listens to, especially as she matures. A woman with experience values something more profound than words. She craves a connection that engages both her emotions and her senses. When done with care and presence, a well-placed intentional touch can communicate more than spoken language. Touch, in its purest form, is an unspoken reassurance. It is a silent but powerful way of telling a woman that she is seen, that her presence is valued, and that she is in the company of someone who understands her need for connection beyond mere conversation. A light touch on her hand during a moment of laughter, a reassuring hand on her back as she walks through a door, or a gentle squeeze of her fingers when she shares a personal story. These small, thoughtful gestures carry immense weight. Unlike younger women who may be drawn to excitement and novelty, a woman who has lived through experiences of love, loss, and personal growth is far more attuned to the depth of her feelings. She does not just react to the touch, but responds to its intention. Before intimacy, the power of touch becomes even more profound. Many men rush through the stages of connection believing that physical closeness alone is enough. But for a woman who understands herself, attraction is more than physical. It is deeply tied to how she feels in a man's presence. A slow, intentional touch, such as a light massage at the end of a long day, a hand resting gently on her back, or the comforting brush of fingers against her arm, does more than stimulate the senses. It creates a space of trust and emotional safety. It tells her that she is not just desired, but cherished, not just wanted, but deeply understood. Most men fail to recognize this. They see physical connection as a separate entity, apart from emotional depth. But for a woman with life experience, the two are inseparable. She cannot truly open herself to a man unless she feels safe, unless she senses that his touch carries meaning, that he is fully present at the moment, and that his attention is not rushed or transactional but genuine. When done right, touch allows a woman to let go of the guardedness that life may have built around her. It reminds her that attraction is not about seeking validation or proving one's worth, but about existing entirely in the presence of another person. A man who masters this kind of connection does not need to convince a woman of his value. She will feel it in the way he moves, in the way he listens, and in the way he reaches for her, not with expectation, but with understanding. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be, Be one. A man who embodies presence and attentiveness does not need to say much. His actions, gestures, and ability to make a woman feel genuinely seen will always speak louder than words. 2. Flirting with confidence and respect. Flirting is often misunderstood. Many men push too hard, appear aggressive or desperate, hesitate entirely, or fear saying the wrong thing or making a mistake. But true flirting, especially with a mature woman who values depth and authenticity, is not about performing or seeking approval. It is about confidence, subtlety, and understanding how attraction naturally unfolds. A woman with experience has seen it all: the over-the-top charmers who try too hard to impress, the hesitant men who second-guess their every move, and those who rely on outdated clichés. What captivates her is not rehearsed lines or flashy displays of confidence, but a man's ability to be present, engaged, and at ease within himself. Flirting is not about proving something, but creating a dynamic where both people enjoy the moment. A confident man does not need to seek validation. He flirts because he enjoys the exchange, not because he is trying to manipulate an outcome. Playful teasing is one of the most effective ways to create an engaging, light-hearted atmosphere. If she mentions her favorite dish, instead of just agreeing or showering her with compliments, he might respond with a smirk, "That's the best you've got. You've never had my cooking." This kind of banter does two things. It keeps the conversation fun and challenges her in a way that invites curiosity. A mature woman appreciates a man who can stimulate her mind as much as her emotions. She does not want to be put on a pedestal or feel she must validate a man's efforts. Instead, she enjoys the tension of a conversation that feels natural, playful, and filled with unspoken possibilities. Confidence in flirting does not mean overpowering the moment, but allowing it to flow. A high-value man understands that attraction is not built on desperation or forced enthusiasm, but on ease and presence. He does not try to impress with words alone. His body language speaks for him. A relaxed posture, steady eye contact, a knowing smirk, and the ability to let pauses linger create an undeniable presence. Many men need to fill every silence with words, fearing that any moment of quiet means they are losing interest. But a man who understands attraction lets moments breathe, allowing anticipation to build naturally. Flirting should never feel like a performance. It is not about following a script or using memorized techniques, but about reading the moment and responding in a way that keeps the energy alive. A woman does not respond to words alone. She responds to how a man makes her feel. If he is comfortable in his skin, she will feel that confidence. She will be drawn in if he is fully present, not caught up in self-doubt or overthinking his next move. A mature woman values a man who flirts, not to gain something, but because he genuinely enjoys the connection. He does not see her interest as a prize to be won, but as a natural response to his energy. He is not concerned with whether she likes him. He already likes himself, and that, more than anything, is what makes him irresistible. As in Stoic philosophy, a genuinely confident man does not seek external validation. He understands that whether a woman responds to him does not determine his worth. He remains centered, grounded, and unshaken. And that quiet self-assurance draws her in, not because he needs her interest, but because she feels the undeniable pull of his presence. 3. Why touching her hair at the right moment creates connection. Many men overlook the small, understated gestures that create profound emotional connections. They focus on words, grand actions, or noticeable signs of attraction, but often the slightest touch carries the most profound meaning. One such gesture is touching a woman's hair at the right moment, a seemingly simple act that can signal trust, intimacy, and quiet emotional connection when done with presence and awareness. Hair is more than just an aesthetic feature. It is deeply personal, tied to self-expression and identity, and touching it, especially for a woman who is experienced and emotionally attuned, can be an intimate exchange. The scalp is filled with nerve endings, making it one of the body's most sensitive areas. A gentle touch, a slow and deliberate movement to brush a strand away from her face, can trigger a deep emotional response. It is a gesture that does not demand attention, but conveys something unspoken. I see you, I am present with you, and I am attuned to this moment. The key, however, is timing. Touching a woman's hair without consideration, rushing the gesture, or doing it without actual presence can feel forced or intrusive. It is not about making a move, but reading the energy between you. If she is comfortable, engaged, and leaning into the moment, a light touch to sweep a strand away from her eyes can feel natural, even magnetic. If done prematurely or without connection, it disrupts rather than enhances the interaction. This is where emotional intelligence comes in, an understanding that attraction is not about taking action for the sake of action, but about responding to the moment with sensitivity and restraint. A man who masters this does not act impulsively. He is patient, observant, and in control of himself. He understands that intimacy is not created by force, but by presence. He does not touch her hair because he is trying to elicit a reaction. He does it because, in that moment, it feels right. This level of awareness separates a genuinely confident man from one acting on impulse. In Stoic philosophy, mastery over one's emotions and actions is a mark of strength. A man who embodies this does not seek external validation. He moves with intention, acts with awareness, and understands that his energy alone creates connection. He does not overstep, nor does he hesitate in fear of rejection. He reads the moment, trusts his instincts, and allows the attraction to unfold naturally. This self-assured presence is rare and deeply compelling for a woman, especially one who has lived enough to recognize authenticity from pretense. She does not respond to mere words or hollow gestures. She responds to a man who can hold the moment, who understands that the most potent expressions of attraction are often the ones unspoken. A simple touch, executed with confidence and care, can communicate more than any elaborate display. 4. The subtle power of a hand on her back in public. Sometimes the smallest gestures speak the loudest. A man does not need grand displays of masculinity to capture a woman's attention. He only needs a deep understanding of presence, confidence, and unspoken connection. One of the most subtle yet powerful ways to express this is through a simple act: placing a hand on her lower back while walking together. It may seem like nothing more than a brief, fleeting touch to an outside observer, but it conveys something much deeper to a woman who understands unspoken signals. It is a gesture of quiet leadership, an instinctive way of guiding her through a crowd, ensuring she moves quickly and comfortably. It is a sign of protection, a reminder that she is with someone aware, attuned, and present. It is not about possession, it is about presence. A man who does this effortlessly communicates that he is secure in himself, unafraid to lead without overpowering, to guide without demanding, and to offer assurance without saying a single word. This is where so many men falter. Some hesitate, unsure of whether the gesture will be welcomed. Their hesitation translates into awkwardness, making the moment feel forced rather than natural. Others overdo it, turning a simple act of connection into something possessive or overbearing. A woman instantly senses when a man is trying too hard to assert dominance, rather than simply moving confidently. True masculinity is not about force, it is about presence. Women are not drawn to performative displays of strength. They do not need a man to prove his power with exaggerated gestures or calculated moves. What they respond to is authenticity, small instinctual signals that suggest stability, awareness, and quiet confidence. When done correctly, a hand on her back feels effortless, natural, and unspoken. It tells her that he is comfortable in himself, leads without seeking permission, and moves through the world with quiet certainty. A high-value man does not overthink these moments. He does not seek validation or wonder whether his actions are being judged. He simply embodies what it means to be present. He does not question whether he should act, he just does, because it is who he is. As the Stoics taught, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one. And sometimes, being a man of presence, confidence, and quiet leadership is as simple as placing his hand on her back and leading her forward. 5. Being her protector in small ways. A woman does not need a man to rescue her. She has spent years navigating the complexities of life, handling responsibilities and overcoming challenges on her own. But what she does appreciate, deeply and instinctively, is a man who provides a sense of protection in quiet, meaningful ways, not through grand gestures or dominance, but through small actions that show he is present, aware, and capable of standing firm when needed. A mature woman values a man who remains composed despite difficulty. If caught in an uncomfortable situation, she does not need an aggressive defender, perhaps dealing with someone rude or inconsiderate. What she respects is a man who handles the moment with calm assertiveness. He does not escalate unnecessarily, nor does he shrink away. Instead, he establishes boundaries with quiet confidence, making it clear that he will not tolerate disrespect toward her or himself. Protection is not always about confrontation. Sometimes it is about ensuring she feels secure in the smallest moments. Walking her to her car, ensuring she gets home safely, or offering a steady, reassuring presence when she feels uncertain. These acts leave a lasting impression by communicating something more profound than words ever could. I see you. I care about your well-being. You are safe with me. Emotional steadiness is the foundation of this kind of protection. An easily rattled man who overreacts or becomes volatile under pressure does not inspire trust. A woman is drawn to a man who remains grounded regardless of the situation. If plans go awry, stress arises, or someone behaves poorly, he does not let external circumstances dictate his emotions. Instead, he remains centered, embodying the wisdom of Stoic philosophy. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This strength is not about being unfeeling, but about controlling one's reactions. A man who can stay calm under pressure and does not let anger or frustration dictate his actions is a man a woman feels safe with. And safety is not just about physical protection, it is about emotional security. She must know that he will not panic, dismiss, or react impulsively if she turns to him in a moment of vulnerability. Instead, he will listen, offer steady support, and make her feel understood without judgment. Women remember these small moments of protection. They remember the man who made them feel at ease in an uncomfortable situation, the one who noticed when they were feeling uneasy and responded without making a show of it, the one who did not need to prove anything, but whose presence alone was enough to make them feel secure. A powerful man does not seek to control, impress, or dominate. He simply exists as a steady force, reliable, composed, and quietly protective. And that kind of strength is far more attractive than any grand display of power. It is the kind of strength that does not fade with time, the kind that lingers in a woman's mind long after she has left the room. 6. The psychological effect of mentioning a dream about her. Few things are subtly intriguing to a woman than the idea that she has unknowingly occupied a man's thoughts. While direct compliments or rehearsed lines can often feel predictable, dreams carry an air of mystery and authenticity that is difficult to ignore. A well-placed comment like, "I had the strangest dream about you last night," instantly sparks curiosity. It plants a thought in her mind, making her wonder what role she played in your subconscious. The key here is not to reveal everything at once, but to let the anticipation build, allowing her curiosity to do the work. Mature women, especially those with experience, are not easily swayed by ordinary flirtation. They have heard it all: the scripted lines, the shallow flattery, the apparent attempts to impress. What captures their attention is something unexpected that feels organic and personal. Dreams fall into this category because they are perceived as raw, unfiltered reflections of the mind. Unlike deliberate compliments, which sometimes feel forced or strategic, dreams seem involuntary. They are glimpses into something more profound, which makes them infinitely more compelling. When you mention a dream about her, her mind immediately starts working. What was the dream about? Why was she in it? What does it mean? This simple statement pulls her in, because it makes her feel significant in a not entirely explainable way. The more she thinks about it, the more she associates herself with you. This is the subtle power of suggestion. Placing an idea in her head without directly asking for her attention creates a natural and powerful effect. How you deliver this line matters just as much as the words themselves. The goal is not to sound overly eager or dramatic, but to introduce the idea casually. A relaxed tone, a slight smirk, and a well-timed pause make all the difference. If she asks about the dream, resist the urge to give away all the details immediately. Instead, let the moment build. You might say, "It was strange. I don't even know how to explain it," before pausing again. This keeps her engaged, making her more invested in the conversation. The key is to make it feel effortless, as if the dream itself is what surprised you, rather than something you plan to use as a conversational tool. From a psychological perspective, this technique works because it taps into the human tendency to dwell on unresolved thoughts. When someone is left wondering about something, their mind naturally revisits it throughout the day. By mentioning a dream about her subtly and confidently, you ensure that she continues thinking about you long after the conversation has ended. It creates an invisible thread of connection, one that she cannot quite explain but cannot ignore. A high-value man does not need to chase or seek validation. He understands that attraction is not about pursuit, but about presence. He does not force interest. He creates a pull that naturally draws a woman toward him. This is a fundamental principle in psychology and Stoic philosophy. A man who is centered, who does not act out of desperation, becomes someone that others gravitate toward. Mentioning a dream is a small, yet effective way to do this. It is not about manipulation or deception, but about organically sparking curiosity. When done correctly, it leaves a lasting impression, making her wonder about you long after the conversation. And in the end, that is the kind of intrigue that keeps attraction alive. 7. The psychological attraction of a well-groomed beard. Facial hair has long been a silent yet powerful signal of masculinity. Throughout history, warriors, philosophers, and leaders have worn beards to symbolize strength, wisdom, and resilience. While styles have changed over time, the subconscious associations remain. A well-groomed beard is more than just facial hair. It is a statement. It speaks of discipline, self-respect, and understanding how small details shape perception. Women are naturally drawn to men who display signs of stability and maturity. Studies suggest that beards enhance these perceptions, making a man appear more protective and capable. It is not just about aesthetics, but about what a beard represents. A man who maintains his appearance with care is seen as someone who values himself and takes the time to refine his external and internal world. His beard becomes an extension of his character, a visual cue that hints at his level of self-discipline. However, there is a clear distinction between the right and wrong way to wear a beard. A well-kept beard suggests control. It shows that a man is intentional in how he presents himself. He trims, shapes, and cares for it, demonstrating that he pays attention to detail and respects the impression he leaves on others. In contrast, an unkempt, messy beard sends an entirely different message. It hints at carelessness, laziness, and a lack of regard for one's image. Women pick up on these cues instinctively. A man who neglects something as visible as his beard raises questions about how he manages the rest of his life. How will he invest in a relationship if he does not invest in his upkeep? This idea aligns with a more profound truth. How a man presents himself externally often mirrors his internal state. As the Stoics have said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. A disciplined mind leads to disciplined actions. A man who takes the time to groom himself properly will likely apply the same level of care to his work, goals, and relationships. He is not seeking validation from others, but upholding a standard for himself, and that is what makes him naturally attractive. Attraction is not about perfection, it is about presence. A man who takes pride in his appearance without obsessing over it sends a strong message. He values himself, and by extension, he is someone worth valuing. Women respond not just to looks, but to what those looks represent. When worn correctly, a beard is a subtle yet powerful reminder of a man's ability to lead, protect, and take charge of his life. At the core of attraction, it's not about tricks or tactics. It's about embodying confidence, presence, and quiet strength. The 7 secrets we've explored aren't about manipulation, but understanding the deeper psychological and emotional triggers that naturally draw people toward you. The attraction becomes effortless when you internalize these principles and make them a part of who you are. The true power of a Stoic man lies in his ability to remain grounded, self-assured, and intentional in his actions. You naturally set yourself apart from the rest by mastering emotional steadiness, embracing leadership in subtle ways, and maintaining self-discipline. Women aren't drawn to men who chase validation. They're drawn to those who exude self-respect, purpose, and quiet confidence. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever noticed these dynamics in action? Which of these insights resonated with you the most? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. If you found this video valuable, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss out on more content about mastering attraction, self-improvement, and the power of Stoicism. See you in the next one.